Hey everybody, it's Bart Vickery checking in with module number 1 of Money University. I know it's what you've all been waiting for. It is a important topic. It's a topic that a lot of people aren't getting right as far as where do they stand financially. It's a topic that's controversial. Not everybody wants to talk about it. Don't talk about money at the dinner table. They'd rather tell you more about their love life than they will their financial life, okay? And I understand because most of them have a financial wreck for a life, but not you, not me. If you do, we're going to work through it. I've got some things to work through. I'm going to share some, make some confessions about the mistakes that I've made in the past, okay? As we go through these 10 modules, I've learned a lot. Most of it's been the hard way from a financial standpoint. But the first thing we're going to do is figure out where am I? Where do I stand today financially? Where are my prospects for the future? Do I have a plan? Most people do not. That's why we have over 1 million bankruptcies every year. That's why 2/3 of the baby boomers that will have already begun retiring, that's why 2/3 of them are concerned about their finances. Will it last through their retirement? We are not going to be them. We are setting ourselves up now. This is a commitment from you today to set a course of a sound financial future, okay? And it's not hard, but it takes setting the course. Let me rephrase that. It is hard. It's very hard. Setting the course, though, is not hard. We're going to do that step by step. There's no rocket science involved, but you're going to have a crystal clear understanding of the path that you need to take. We're all going to have different plans, different paths that we take because we have different incomes, different debts, different goals, things of that nature. But we're going to have a crystal clear understanding from each of our perspectives of the course that we're going to set financially, okay? And it is hard to start that course. It is hard to continue on that course. It takes things that a lot of people have trouble with, like discipline and control and choices. Okay, we're going to get into all of that. But let's start with where am I now? Where do I stand? I want you to sit down with whomever else is involved in your finances, spouse, significant other, whomever, and start writing out where are you now? Okay, and there's several different areas of that I want you to focus on. The first one is from a cash, from an investment standpoint, where do you stand? How much cash do you have? Okay, write it down. Count it up. Get out your change. I don't care. Find out where you stand from a cash perspective. How much is in the checking account right now? How much is in savings? How much have you set aside for retirement? Do you have accounts for your children's education fund? How much is in there? Okay, let's know exactly what that number is because surprisingly enough, most of you don't know that. Okay, because you haven't taken the time to sit down and figure it out. We all kind of just go through our lives, as I've mentioned before, these blinders on from several areas of our life, and and then you wonder, what it'd be nice, to be in the successful group. It'd be nice to be part of that 3% of Americans that are considered very successful. But there's things that they've done that most all of them have done to get there. And we can do the same, regardless of where you are financially, how much money you make, what your background is, all those things. Okay, you can retire comfortably if you have a plan that you stick to with hard work and discipline. Okay, so you've written these things down. Now we need to figure out how much debt do I have? Start with credit cards. Credit cards are a killer. List them all out. Be honest. If you've got hidden credit cards from your spouse, it's time for the confession because you've got to be on the same page, on the same team, pulling in the same direction to win this, okay? Get out the credit cards, list them out from lowest balance to highest, list out each of the interest rates, how much are paid each month in the payments that are due, okay? Car loans. In America, we have a fascination with cars, so a lot of you have car loans. I made a commitment years ago, my wife and I. It was probably only about 5 years ago where we decided, hey, wait, what's going on here? We're spending way too much money. It's like a black hole, a vortex sucking our cash out of us. Sure, we were doing some fun things and living this crazy lifestyle of, it seemed like the money would never end. But we were blowing it all. There's no point in that. If you're making a lot of money and blowing it all, there's no point, okay? Because there's a lot of things that come with making a lot of money, like stress and hard work and long hours, things of that nature. So we decided years ago, let's take control of this. And one of the first things we decided was No more car loans, okay? So I am happy to say that we've successfully lived without car loans for the last several years, and we don't ever plan on having car loans again. List those out. What's your mortgage balance? What's the payment? What's the interest rate? Do you have any personal debt? Okay, list that out. We've got to make, we have to have a confession with ourselves of where am I? Most people bury their heads in the sand. As I mentioned before, if you ask a friend how much credit card debt they have, they'd rather tell you about their love life than their credit card debt. And yet the average adult American carries $7,800 in credit card debt. So you can imagine how high some of them are, because a lot of us have zero credit card debt, like me, like my wife. Us together, we made a commitment, no credit card debt. At one point, we had $38,000 in credit card debt. Most of it was business related, so I had kind of separated it from our personal lives. I felt it was different. That credit card debt was different. But it was $38,000 in credit card debt that I had accumulated, okay? And it was like, what am I doing here? I'm paying like 12% interest on this, and that was a low credit card. That was a low interest rate. So what we did was we set a plan, and we wiped it out. We're going to get into credit cards. It's its own module, okay? But list them out, all the debt. Now the expenses. How much money am I spending on a monthly basis? Fixed expenses. The things that you've got to pay to survive, all right? Got to pay to continue working. Got to do, your fixed expenses like mortgage payment, car loans, rent, utilities, food, insurance, those fixed expenses. That's your foundation. Start with that and then add everything else to it. And I know a lot of you don't have any idea what all the other things add up to because you just spend. You don't keep track of it. But one of the things that Stacy and I use that's kind of corny, but it works very well, and it's very high tech, is these little notebooks, these little notepads we use to track things. Anytime we want to find something out in our lives, whether it's our eating habits, our financial, how much we're spending on this, am I doing enough on a daily basis to build my business? I like to list things out. I like to keep track of things, and a lot of you are rolling your eyes right now, but this works. 3 for $1 you can get these things for. List everything that you spend, everything for the next 30 days on a notepad. Get a bigger notepad if you need it, whatever. But get a notepad, and I want you to start today. For the next 30 days, list everything you spend, okay? This is how we're going to get a grasp of where we are. How do we set our course? How do we set our plan for the future? Because we have to have a plan. We can't just keep going around doing the same things and expecting a different result. Income. How much is coming in? Okay, be realistic. How much are you making? How much do you bring in after taxes, after insurance, after all these things? What is it that you have left over? All right, list it out. All these things are going to be critical for setting our course, for creating our plan. It's time to get real. It's time to be honest with yourself, with your spouse, whomever's involved in your finances. It's time. All right, make a commitment right now, because if you don't, nothing's going to change. 2/3 of the baby boomers, do you think that when they were working at age 30 and even at age 40, that they had concerns about retirement? No, that was long off into the distance. But as we know in Skinny Happy Money, one of the things we know is time flies, right? Time moves quickly. We only have one life. So make the decision right now that you're going to get control of your finances. You need to start with, where am I now? All right? I know it's boring. It's sad. It's things that we don't want to do. It's not easy. It's difficult. It takes discipline. But you're going to do it. Do it right now. Send me your questions, comments, criticisms, anything you'd like. SkinnyHappyMoney@yahoo.com. Thanks a lot for viewing. Check out the next module coming soon.